Hey everybody, it's Jessica DeMassa with WTF Health. What's the future of health? I am talking to the who's who of health tech and healthcare innovation. And today we are checking in with Pfizer's Chief Digital and Technology Officer, Lidia Fonseca, to find out what's going on at Pfizer with health tech, some digital therapeutic stuff, maybe some AI chat conversation, and the digital team's role in helping develop the COVID-19 vaccine and the oral treatment. So, Lydia, it is so exciting to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Happy to be here.
All right, well, let's start out at, I guess, the very beginning because I'm interested to hear about your role. So, digital and technology officer. So, give us just a high level sense of at an organization like Pfizer, what types of things fall under your purview in your job?
Sure. So I have the honor to serve as Pfizer's Chief Digital and Technology Officer, and the organization I lead is responsible for all digital data and technology products and solutions across the company. Additionally, I lead Pfizer's enterprise learning and development and business process excellence functions, which includes driving agile ways of working across all of Pfizer. Most recently, I have taken on the charge to expand Pfizer's products and capabilities in the digital health and medicine space, which includes digital therapeutics, digital diagnostics, and digital biomarkers. So as you can see, digital encompasses a lot here at Pfizer. Prior to Pfizer, I was CIO at Quest Diagnostics and LabCorp and held senior leadership technology and operations roles at Philips Healthcare. Throughout my more than 20 years in healthcare, it has been my passion to apply digital data and technology to improve patient health outcomes. This drives and motivates me each and every day, and it is what attracted me to Pfizer, the tremendous global impact we have on patient health outcomes. And that makes my role so meaningful, both personally and professionally. Back when I joined Pfizer in 2019, our CEO, Albert Bourla, tapped me to start a digital transformation journey, grounded in the belief that digital was going to be a critical part of Pfizer's future. And breaking it down, Pfizer Digital is driving innovation across the entire value chain with three strategic priorities in mind. First, to improve patient health outcomes. Second, to bring medicines to patients faster. And third, to fuel tomorrow's breakthrough therapies, all of which ladders back to Pfizer's purpose, breakthroughs that change patients' lives.
That's amazing. I think that is so incredible, and it's exciting to hear your passion for your role. I think, as I'm hearing you talk, about technologies and breakthroughs, it's like there is no technological breakthrough, or at least in healthcare. The big story the last couple of years has been COVID, and so I'd love to hear a little bit about your team, specifically the digital team. I was surprised played a role in helping accelerate the development of the COVID-19 vaccine and the oral treatment. So I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that, because that to me struck me as a little bit unique.
Pfizer's COVID-19 response shows how we're applying digital innovation across our entire value chain, using digital data and AI to bring both the vaccine and the oral treatment to the world in record time. There are many examples I could share, but I will highlight just a few to give you the breadth of digital's impact. I'll start with a great example of how we use supercomputing to fast-track the progression from discovery to development for Paxlovid, our oral treatment. Using computational modeling and simulation, we can now test molecular compounds virtually, rather than having to run millions of experiments in the wet lab. This meant that in a very short period of time, we could test a fraction of the millions of known compounds that might have potentially worked to treat COVID-19, quickly narrowing them down to a much smaller set of compounds with the highest chance of becoming the medicine that we needed. Essentially, several years of labor-intensive research was reduced to months and weeks thanks to supercomputing. Digital data and AI are also accelerating the development of Comirnaty, our COVID vaccine. With the virus raging all over the world in 2020, it was essential that we set up our global COVID clinical trials as fast as possible. By no means an easy undertaking, given the logistics and scale involved. One of the digital tools we used were real-time predictive models to forecast the virus's prevalence at a county level, identifying where the next big wave of infection would hit. This helped our development team to optimize the selection of clinical trial sites around the world based on where we anticipated being able to recruit the high volume of participants we needed for the trial. That is how, in just 4 months, we were able to launch what was truly a landmark clinical trial, including 46,000 participants spread across 150 sites in 6 countries. Without the benefit of digital, we might not have met those urgent timelines for the development of the vaccine. In manufacturing, we implemented AI and machine learning to predict product throughput and yield. This supports more consistent production and allows our manufacturing to be more predictable, which was key to us producing more than 3 billion doses of our vaccine in 2021. Additionally, we use both AI and machine learning to predict product temperatures and enable preventative maintenance for the 3,000 freezers that house our vaccine doses. Collectively, these digital capabilities have been critical as we work to meet the global demand for both the vaccine and the antiviral. Today, we're looking ahead at how we can continue applying the power of digital across the value chain. As our Chief Scientific Officer, Michael Dolston, says, science will win, and digital is helping us to do it faster.
I'm curious if we can take that last point about kind of what's next for digital and talk about that a little bit more, because I feel like, digital teams are relatively new in pharma. I mean, especially life sciences companies like Pfizer that have been around for a very, very long time. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on how you think that, the involvement of the digital team, the involvement of technology like AI and machine learning, how that those predictive analytics, how that's helped kind of reposition digital teams within life sciences companies, specifically, from your experience at Pfizer. I mean, is the digital team looked at differently now as a result of the role that it was able to play during the development of the COVID vaccine and the oral treatment?
Certainly, the pandemic served as a catalyst for change, spurring greater digital fluency and willingness to engage virtually, from patients to healthcare providers to regulators, and certainly for our own colleagues as well. I do think that we were able to really harness digital, especially given the urgency. I think the agility that was needed, we recognized as a company that digital could help us meet not only the demand and to find the solution, but also at a speed and a scale that had never been seen before. So let me give you some examples, right?
Yeah.
Increasingly, we're moving from a traditional physician office setting to virtual engagement, and more payers are reimbursing for digital patient visits and services. Industry-wise, we're also accelerating the shift from volume to value. And it is not enough for healthcare professionals to give prescriptions. The treatments being prescribed must deliver their intended outcomes. AI and machine learning are turbocharging drug discovery and development, but can also help enhance prevention, early detection, personalized treatment, and digital therapies. I think on the technology front, developments such as new gene therapies, digital therapeutics, and quantum computing will help bring breakthrough medicines to patients faster. And we're seeing distribution being reshaped with online and retail pharmacies and new intermediaries. We believe COVID-19 accelerated those trends by as much as 5 years, not necessarily because all of the technology is new, but because we began applying it at scale. What I see across the industry is that a digital mindset is now at the forefront of healthcare. That is why I tell my team at Pfizer, rather than creating a digital strategy for our business, we're creating a business strategy for a digital world. It's leading with this mindset that has enabled us to move at a speed never before seen in our industry, and to discover and deliver breakthroughs that impacted approximately 1.4 billion patients' lives just in 2021 alone. That is the foundation on which we're making digital a competitive advantage at Pfizer. And as we look to the future, we're applying the same light speed approach we use for our COVID vaccine and antiviral to bring even more breakthroughs to patients across multiple therapeutic areas where the unmet need is high. We have seen what we're capable of when we harness the power of digital across our entire value chain, and we do not plan on looking back.
That's awesome. I'm excited. Way to get us like fired up. And it's exciting for me too to hear that you feel like it's accelerated the adoption of tech and digital 5 years. I mean, in this period of time during COVID. So I think that's really encouraging. I'm sure, especially for those who are watching, who are in these digitally based businesses. I do want to pick your brain, Lidia, if I can, about a couple specific areas. And one of them that I really want to know, where you're at, with is digital therapeutics. I mean, you mentioned this, and I think, in the space that I cover, I mean, it's one of the more like kind of bleeding edge areas in terms of the way digital is being applied. So I would love to hear what your thoughts are on the digital therapeutics area. I feel like the last like maybe 3 to 4 years, we've been hearing, pharma's adopting, an around the pill strategy, and instead of the pill strategy, a beyond the pill. I mean, where are you guys at Pfizer with digital therapeutics strategically? And if you can also talk, about how you see these digital therapies fitting into the mix of the other types of therapeutic options that you're offering to patients.
Sure. I think it's exciting, definitely, to see innovation thriving, at the intersection of healthcare and digital. And that includes, of course, capabilities in digital health as well as digital therapeutics. We're seeing it, right? Digital is changing the way that we engage, the way that we live our lives, from providing daily reminders to measuring physical activity, to banking, to managing grocery lists. And at Pfizer, we're committed to exploring how smart technology can be deployed to impact the course of disease and help improve patient outcomes. Let me share a few examples of what we've been doing in this space to date. For one, Pfizer and Bristol Myers Squibb have an alliance, which is working with Fitbit to help drive timely diagnosis of atrial fibrillation. An estimated 3.3 million patients in the US and 1.8 million in the EU5 are undiagnosed for AFib, creating an urgency around building awareness and diagnosis. AI algorithms can help detect heart rhythms suggestive of AFib, and Fitbit is putting that to use with their AFib detection software. Our Pfizer and BMS alliance is developing educational content and guidance to complement Fitbit software to encourage those at risk to have informed discussions with physicians. Beyond diagnosis, smart technology is also helping in areas such as treatment adherence. For example, last year, Pfizer introduced a smart pill bottle pilot program for oncology treatment, Bosiliv, for adult patients with chronic myelogenous leukemia. The smart pill bottle informs the patient's pharmacy team if a dose has been missed, prompting them to follow up with the patient as appropriate. Several US specialty pharmacy providers are participating in this program, which is one way that we're leveraging technology to support patients' health outcomes. Another example I will share is our Living With Cancer app, which provides resources to over 90,000 patients and their caregivers. It connects patients with a support network, improves communication between patients, caregivers, and healthcare providers, and helps patients manage day-to-day health and wellness while undergoing cancer treatment. Again, it is another way to use technology to help make a measurable difference in the lives of the patients we serve. Finally, as I had mentioned earlier in our conversation, we're continuing to push the envelope in the digital health and medicine space, including digital therapeutics, diagnostics, and biomarkers. So stay tuned, because you're going to see a lot more to come.
I love that foreshadowing. I love it. The suspense is killing me. So Lidia, I guess let's wrap up this conversation, because I'd love to just get some advice from you. I'm going to paraphrase this, not as eloquently as you originally stated it, but I love what you said about, forget this digital strategy that we need to do. Let's make a business strategy for a digital world. I'm kind of close, right? I'm kind of close on the paraphrase there. But I'm curious if you could give us like your best advice for, organizations, healthcare organizations especially, because I mean, literally any type of healthcare. I mean, lives are at risk. And so it's like you want to innovate, there's that whole Silicon Valley, move fast and break things. And we don't like to do that in healthcare because we're risk adverse, as we should be. So, I mean, what's your best advice for helping kind of build that culture of innovation, especially within maybe a larger incumbent organization like Pfizer or like maybe a health system or a health plan, that you want to be able to embrace these technologies that can help reduce cost, improve speed to market, do all the wonderful things, make a more personalized patient journey, help their caregivers, all of that. But, how do you do that in a way where you manage the responsibility on the other side of it as well? I'd love to get some advice from you for our listeners.
Great question. Culture is critical to driving innovation. Let me start there. I will give you some pieces of advice I've learned along the way, but let me set a bit of context first. On January 1st, 2019, Albert Bourla became CEO of Pfizer, and we began our transition to being a more science-driven, patient-focused company. And we also embarked on a digital transformation journey. That same year, Albert set us on a purpose blueprint that clarified our purpose, breakthroughs that change patients' lives, and the underlying ambition, bold moves, and values that reinforce our culture. It set the expectations for the leadership and the culture and the values that we're looking for from the organization. Having this shared blueprint has been extremely powerful because it creates a common focus for our more than 80,000 Pfizer colleagues. And it also gives us a sense of community as we're all motivated and empowered to act on the same goals and behaviors. When it comes to innovation specifically, several cultural factors underpin our success and our learnings, which together capture the spirit of light speed that we're embedding across Pfizer. And light speed was our approach to the COVID vaccine and COVID antiviral developments, maintaining a hyper focus on the customer, whether that be the patient, the healthcare provider, health systems, regulators, or our own colleagues. Driving horizontal thinking, aligning ourselves to what the patient is experiencing, as opposed to our own internal processes, which tend to be vertical or functional. Focusing on a few critical common goals with minimal bureaucracy. Fostering a strong emphasis on outcomes as opposed to activity. It's easy to get caught up in activity. What we really should be driving is the outcomes.
Yeah.
We also made an enterprise-wide effort to embed agile ways of working across Pfizer, which helps us to be more flexible, respond better to patients' changing needs, and deliver better and faster outcomes. Our agile teams are empowered to work in parallel rather than sequentially, and to have the courage to think big, be creative, and work differently. This was particularly critical these past 2 years to accelerate our COVID efforts. Anchoring firmly to our purpose, we will continue to apply many of these light speed principles beyond COVID. For all of us at Pfizer, it has become a mindset as much as a new way of working.
I think that's amazing. And it's good advice. Like, I mean, it's incredible how even the mindset has created a cultural shift at Pfizer as a result of having gone through what you've gone through in the development of the COVID vaccine. That's wonderful. Last thing for you, just to wrap it up. And I hate to point this out, but it's like I don't often get to speak with chief digital and technology officers who are female. So it is very nice to see one, and especially at a business as big as Pfizer. And so, congratulations. It's inspiring, and I enjoyed hearing very much about your career and your role at the top of the interview. And I'm hoping maybe if you could leave us with some parting words for all those young ladies out there who might be interested in getting into tech, or even some of us who are in our career. I mean, I switched into this tech side of the business in the middle of my 30s. But it's like it becomes a little intimidating. So I'd love to hear, you're an advocate for diversity in technology, particularly when it comes to women. So leave us with some last words to kind of inspire the rest of the crowd out there who may be a little bit nervous, either because of maybe gender or even age, to jump into the tech side of things.
You are absolutely right. I am passionate about encouraging women and minorities to enter STEM careers. It goes back to my personal story. My family and I moved from Mexico to the US when I was 10. It was the classical immigrant story of seeking a better future and the promise of America. Living in the inner city of Los Angeles, I learned to speak English by watching soap operas, the news, and TV shows like Chips. I know I'm dating myself when I say that. And as
That's
I
awesome,
learned the
though.
language, I didn't lose the accent, as you can hear.
I love it.
But my horizons might have been very limited. But I had a great English teacher, Mr. Jensen, in middle school, who challenged me and taught me that anything was possible if I focused and worked hard. Mentors like him and even my mom gave me a sense of my potential and helped me realize I could rise above my circumstances. Thanks to their encouragement, I got the strong education I needed to get into Berkeley for my undergraduate degree, and I have never looked back since. And that is what motivates me to help women and girls around the world, particularly into STEM careers. I want everyone to believe that you should never limit your potential and that no matter where you come from, you should dream big and keep striving. As a leader today, I strongly believe that the talent in my organization should reflect the communities we serve. As we all know, women have been underrepresented in digital and technology roles across all industries, really. I'm passionate about finding new female talent to bring into our team, as well as growing and developing the great talent we have here at Pfizer already. I regularly hold talent review sessions with my leadership team to identify strong female talent and provide them with out-of-the-box opportunities to grow their skills and provide them greater visibility. We also created a full-time digital rotational program to attract diverse and talented young people at the entry level. College graduates rotate across different teams within digital so that they gain the knowledge and exposure to learn where their passion lies and grow with the company. We have put a particular emphasis on recruiting women and minorities into this program to develop a strong bench of diverse talent. I have also taken on a mentorship role for numerous young women looking to grow their career in digital. It has been very gratifying for me personally to get to know these talented women and provide guidance on their journeys. Through these and other efforts, we have successfully increased the number of female and minority leaders in our digital organization over the past few years, and I'm fully committed to continuing this trend. Even outside Pfizer, I believe it is critical to start early. So as a sponsor of Pfizer's partnership with Girls Who Code, I spend time with high school girls to open their minds to the positive impact they can have on the world through STEM careers. I hope that these efforts will one day be part of my legacy in having enabled more women into STEM and empowering them to thrive in their careers.
That's awesome. I love that. That's so great. Thank you for being such a great role model. All right. Well, Lydia, we will have to check in with you again at some point in the future to hear a little bit more about how things are going. But thank you so much for stopping by today and for speaking with us and really talking so much to us about the different ways that digital and tech are starting to change how business is done at Pfizer. It's inspiring to hear. It really is. And congratulations on your team's role in the development of the COVID vaccine. I mean, that's just still, I think, such a massive undertaking that deserves to be applauded. And so congratulations to you and your teams for your participation in that, I mean, milestone.
Thank you. And it was great being here and having this chat.
Thank you so much. That's Lidia Fonseca. I'm Jessica DeMassa. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to catch more interviews with the people who are changing healthcare, please head on over to my YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/WTF Health. Thank you again, Lydia. We'll talk to you hopefully soon. I'm Jessica DeMassa. Goodbye.